Howdy, folks. I'm Dynamic Dysprosium, dramatically ditching dangerous dynamite.
I'm Amber.
And here's more dangerous dynamite for us to ditch, although I think the word dynamite is inherently implies danger. So I don't know if we needed to specify that dynamite was dangerous.
We didn't accept you require me to have like 6 things. Like that's become your pattern you want.
Well,
so
that's the minimum number of words. You've just been doing the bare minimum number of words the entire time.
so I couldn't just ditch the dangerous.
So, yeah, I mean, certainly, I'm not saying that it's not vital towards the tongue twister. I'm just saying that, yes, you can do more than 6 words. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for saying that my brother-in-law should move the date of his wedding, or husband and I can't go? A friend of mine from college is getting married at a destination that I had dreamed of going to for a long time, but was totally out of budget. Her uncle owns a resort and has offered amazing discounts on rooms for her guests. We had this planned for months. RSVP'd, booked a room, arranged for childcare, everything. Now his brother wants to get married the same weekend of the wedding. They're not really doing anything, just a quick ceremony and a party in my in-laws' backyard. It will be more like a family barbecue than any kind of actual wedding. My husband wants to cancel everything so that we can be in town. I don't want to cancel, for the reasons outlined above. We've been in an argument about it. I suggested that his brother can just move it to the weekend before or after. They don't have out-of-town guests, a wedding venue, or vendors booked, or anything that would stop them from being able to move it so my husband can attend. It's just pure stubbornness. My husband isn't backing me up on this at all, and has definitely been talking bad about me to his family about me, which I hate. He thinks that I'm being entitled. If his brother was having a real wedding that had been planned for months and involved a ton of time and money, I would feel differently. But as I said, it costs them nothing to just change the weekend. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I mean, I think for the original question, OP's not the jerk, but I do think that she has some attitude issues regarding what constitutes a real wedding.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand her frustration here,
hmm
and I think what we're seeing is more or less like a boil over of frustration. I don't think she's trying to say that the wedding isn't a real wedding, but I think she's comparing it like this one has been scheduled and planned for months, whereas this one can be moved at the drop of a hat.
Well, and again, that's also why I'm trying to separate out the two
Yeah,
issues.
yeah,
Like, absolutely, OP and her husband have already presumably RSVP'd.
yeah,
They've booked all their reservations. They have everything covered.
yeah,
So, in generally with weddings, like if you have RSVP just to one wedding, you don't just drop everything when someone schedules a last minute wedding. It's not okay to the bride and groom who you've already told. So I think OP is 100% in the right to wanting to still go to their friend's wedding.
yeah.
And her husband is being a major jerk for bad mouthing her behind her
Yeah, I
back.
mean, I think that aspect of this is actually not good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's one thing to have disagreements, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's another thing to basically deride your partner and say that they're not a good person because they don't want to go to this wedding that can be moved.
Right. And I mean, if he really wants to go to his brother's wedding, he could have said, Hey, OP, why don't you still go to your friend's wedding? But it's more important to me that I go to my brother's.
Yeah, well, and then also, generally, if it was like a small wedding like this, wouldn't you think that they would ask ahead of time if this was something that would work for everyone?
Oh, absolutely. I
I'm
mean,
I'm wondering if the husband talked their brother into this.
ooh, I didn't think of that angle. Because, yeah, we had a small wedding and we made sure that it was going to work for
Yeah,
people.
yeah. So for me, it seems like they could have talked to them like a long time ago, and the husband could have mentioned, "Oh, actually, this weekend doesn't work for us. Can you move it to a different weekend because we're going to be in wherever?" But maybe the husband, for some reason, doesn't like the idea of this wedding.
Yeah, like he doesn't like the destination, or he doesn't want to travel, or any number of things, or he doesn't like OP's friend and
Yeah.
just wants an excuse for them not to go.
Yeah, and I hope that isn't the case. And this is just pure wild speculation. I have no reason to believe this at all.
But I also did just want to say that for anyone who has like a low budget wedding, those are still 100%
Oh,
valid
yeah,
and great
yeah,
weddings. Like
yeah.
we got married in our local gardens and like we had sandwiches
Yeah.
and like
And I think like OP's attitude of what constitutes a real wedding or not, I'm really hoping that she's just choosing her wording poorly. And like I said, I'm hoping what she's saying is that this isn't so much a real wedding in the respect of like
it,
the commitment, but more or less in that there's no cost to moving their wedding.
right. It's an easier to move wedding because we actually ended up having to shift ours by a day, and luckily our photographer could move because he was the only vendor we had booked.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that OP's attitude, they either need to clear up what they exactly mean by a real
Mm-hmm.
wedding, or they need to also have an attitude adjustment. But the husband needs a bigger attitude adjustment for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Anonymous Moosehead123 says, not the jerk. How on earth are you being entitled? You RSVP'd yes to your friend's wedding months before your brother-in-law announced his wedding, and your husband went right along with it. You made financial arrangements and have booked childcare arrangements. And you're supposed to renege on that because your brother-in-law decided on a whim to get married and expects you to cancel all of that to accommodate him. He's the one who's being grossly entitled. But your husband is the bigger jerk in the situation. He's not only failing to support you to his family, he's actively talking bad about you to them. To me, that's unforgivable behavior. You should go to your friend's wedding and leave your husband at home. He's going to deliberately make sure that you don't enjoy yourself during what should be a great time. They can enjoy his entitled brother's barbecue. I mean, that's actually a good point about the husband making sure that she doesn't enjoy this. Like, is there
Mm-hmm.
any salvaging that trip at that point in time?
Probably not. Why this is why it's best if OP just goes alone. And also the whole talking bad about her to his family. Like sometimes people do have issues in marriages and need to vent, but it's not great that he's basically setting her up so his family's potentially going to hate her from here on out.
Yeah. And Brief Tumbleweed 918 says this. Not the jerk, and I don't understand all the you're the jerks. You already had these plans. They made their plans knowing full well that you had other obligations. Sounds a little passive aggressive to me. Opie's husband's brother made a plan for a wedding on a date that his brother was already committed elsewhere. The biggest issue here is that Opie's husband's behavior is a major red flag. What a big baby. I say go to the wedding that you want to go to and committed to go to a long time ago. It might be the last vacation that you'll get before a divorce. That might be true. And Knit Like a Boss says, I think all the you're the jerks probably come from the way that OP talks about brother-in-law's wedding, like it's less than because it's a casual slash low key. Alright, folks, and our next letter is an update. Am I the jerk for yelling at my husband over bread? So the other day we read a story about where this husband basically ate their two halves of two different loaves of bread that OP was going to use for dinner. And she got mad and yelled at him over this because why would you do this?
And it's a bigger pattern that like
Mm-hmm.
anytime she buys anything, he has to eat it and then she can't use it to make dinner.
Yeah, but we have an update on that one, so let's get into it. Update. Wow, I was not expecting this to blow up or for so many people to have such strong feelings about bread. Thank you all for your input, especially my sister who unexpectedly chimed in. This may be the most validating experience of 7 years of living together. I shared this with my husband and he accepts his jerk status and has apologized. We are going to work on communicating better, and he is going to work on his weaponized incompetence. He wants you to know that he occasionally cooks rice and beans, and lately has been making us late night quesadillas when the kids are asleep. But most of all, I was just hungry, my husband says. That's nice, right? I mean, I think that that's good that they're working on their communication problems and that this isn't like going to spiral into divorce or anything like that.
Yeah, well, hopefully he takes it to heart and this isn't just like a, oh, I'm gonna make a change for a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lip service. She'll know next time she buys a couple loaves of bread.
Yeah.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I met my boyfriend's mom 4 days ago. I don't know if I'm overreacting, breaking up with him because of how she acted during dinner. I have to use a throwaway for this because I feel like I'm going insane. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years long distance. We met while we were both on vacation. In that time, I have met his family, but only through Zoom. We couldn't meet in person due to the intensive degree program that I was doing. So, in the last 2 years, my boyfriend has been traveling to see me every 2 months. Now that I'm done with my program, I can pretty much work anywhere I want since I work from home, and I thought that I would move into my own place in the city that my boyfriend lives in and continue to explore our relationship. I went to look for apartments and then went to meet his family in person for the first time and have dinner. Everything was going great. I met his parents, his brothers, and their spouses. His mom was very pleasant until dinner started. His oldest brother's wife had made an appetizer and served it. It was really good, but their mom put the appetizer in her mouth, she made a noise, and then made it seem like she had to force herself to swallow it. She said something like, "That's a different taste," and made a disgusted face. There was nothing wrong with the appetizer. She then went to the kitchen and came out with the same appetizer and said, "It's good that I made this one just in case." I expected daughter-in-law to say something, but she just kept quiet. No one said a word, and the conversation continued like it was normal. The mom, with the daughter-in-law and the other spouses, then helped take away our plates and still had the first appetizer on them, served hers on a new plate, and then told us all to eat. It was the same appetizer. There was no difference. In fact, I prefer the daughter-in-law's because it had more in vanilla. I was astounded that she did this. Dinner continued, and it was all made by the mom. She kept asking how the food was made and passive-aggressive comments about certain dishes that were made before by the daughter-in-law. I didn't say anything because I was shocked, but after dinner, we left. I asked my boyfriend what happened. He said that his mom is really passionate about her cooking and doesn't like anyone outdoing her. I said, "So this happens every family dinner?" And he said yes. If someone has made a dish before, or they make it one at dinner, his mom tries to outdo them. He said that his brother's wives don't take it personally because they know how she is, and that's really coming from a place of love. I'm sorry, but what I saw was not from a place of love, and daughter-in-law seemed like she was going to cry. My boyfriend finally said that she's just territorial about her cooking, and other than that, she is very normal. I finally asked him, when did this behavior start? And he said when his eldest brother first brought a serious girlfriend home. His eldest brother is 8 years older than him, so I asked him from the time that they were dating up till now, did all of your brother's partners go through this? And he said yes. I said, do you think your mom's behavior is bad? And he got a little offended and said, no, I just think that she's passionate about making good food. I've been thinking on it, replaying the dinner and comments over and over in my head, and there's no way I can sign myself up for this kind of life. My boyfriend and I are starting to talk about marriage and the future and kids, and I'm very nervous now. His brother's wives have endured abuse over their cooking since the start of their relationships with their spouses. Mother and no one is saying a thing. Not one of them. Not their husbands. Not his dad. Not my boyfriend. How in the world is this okay? How can I sign up for this level of insult every time there's a family dinner? If my boyfriend and I can reach that stage, can I never cook anything? Will she always try to upstage me? Will she make comments about my cooking? Like, what in the world? I don't know if I can set myself up for walking into this toxic family situation like this. I would rather leave. I honestly am really considering breaking up with him over this. Edit, I made this post-event. I didn't want to tell my sister or BFF this because this could be an issue that I get over with my boyfriend, but family doesn't forget. Finding just no mother-in-law didn't help. Anyways, I asked my boyfriend if he could reach out to his brother's wives and ask if I could contact them for lunch. I didn't want to overstep. If they agreed to this lunch, I'm writing down a few questions I'm going to ask. After lunch, I plan to have a talk with my boyfriend and then go from there. For the people asking why I'm willing to throw a relationship where my boyfriend has clearly put in a lot of effort to see with me and be with me, the answer is that I'm thinking about the rest of my life here. I'm in my early 20s, and if we get married and have kids, if his mom is actually like this or worse, that's decades of drama and passive aggressiveness I would rather not deal with or have instilled in my future children. I'm not doing it. If it's a choice between being with him and dealing with what I saw at dinner on a regular basis or being alone, I'm going to choose being alone. I'm going to communicate That's the one thing that I should have done immediately. I'm going to openly express how I feel at every step and tell him why I'm doing it, and I will go from there based on what I see and make a decision. All right, folks, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, OP, do not blame you if you choose to break up with this man over this. What is going on here is absolutely not okay. His mom is not coming from a place of love, but from a place of competitiveness
And control.
and control. She has to show everyone up. She has to be the best. And that's not okay. And their partners should be standing up. Your boyfriend should be standing up. The fact that they're all just sweeping this under the rug is so gross.
Yeah, I really have a problem with this, and I'm wondering why no one has spoken up sooner. And I really feel bad for the wives here because it seems like they're just being told to just not worry about it. But at a certain point, I wouldn't have brought anything
Well, that's the
in.
thing is like, why did anyone bring anything to begin with? Like, if the mom is this territorial, it seems almost like they're expected to bring a dish so that she can then bash it,
Yeah,
have her back up, and
yeah,
be like, look, mine's so much better. Which, if that's actually what's happening, it's even worse because she has to intentionally humiliate them.
yeah,
And then also, not only in front of their partners, but Opie brings up the kids issue. Like, imagine seeing your mom be torn to pieces by your grandma at dinner. Like,
yeah, yeah.
it's just such a cruel, degrading thing.
Yeah, well, and then this was premeditated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because someone had to have told her what they were bringing for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So that mom could have the exact clone.
Yeah, so either one, the husband told the mom, or two, the mom called her up and is like, "So what are you bringing?" Just so that she could explicitly upstage her. And this is just a level of like planning and grossness that it's just terrible. It's terrible, right? And I don't blame OP for wanting to break off this relationship because, like they've said, this is not a normal situation and it's not going to be healthy if they want kids and to raise kids in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their 20s, they're in their early 20s, they say.
Yeah.
They've got plenty of time to find a new partner. It's not like they're going to be alone for the rest of their life here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if they are, like OP said, it's better to be alone than to be subjected to this kind of abuse
Mm-hmm.
ever on a regular basis. And I mean, it's always nice to be able to bring a dish in and, share your cooking. And I understand being passionate, but that's, again, not what the mother-in-law is being. She's not being passionate. She's being authoritarian
Mm-hmm.
and demeaning.
Right. Well, and it's general etiquette that even if you don't like someone's food, even if it's terrible, you just move on. You're like, oh yeah, uh-huh, and you just move on.
Yeah, I mean, it even seems like they got brand new plates,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they got brand new plates just so that they could wash out the terribleness of the sister-in-laws.
It's this elaborate act of humiliation and degradation
Yeah.
so she can feel superior.
And that's not cool. That's not cool at all. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And JKSH Fizjashka says, your boyfriend is showing you that he'll never stand up for you against his mom. And his mom is showing you that she will always come first. If that's not a life that you want to submit to, get out now. And Balarium says this, although if the older brothers and their spouses put up with it, and the age difference, I have a bit of sympathy for the boyfriend who just thinks that this is normal because it's what he has seen in his brother's relationship since he was 10. Doesn't make it right, of course, but that's some indoctrination there. And actually, that's a really good point. I hadn't really considered that. Like he's been seeing this for his entire life, so of course he's not going to think it's all that bad. You when you're in abusive situations, you don't recognize abuse, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it might be worth for him to go to some counseling over this so he can be shown that it's not okay. He might not be open to it though.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he also might be.
mm-hmm.
If this is a relationship that's valuable to him, then he might be willing to entertain the possibility that his mother, what she's doing, isn't healthy. So again, like this person brings up a really excellent point that this is something that he's seen for a majority of his life. And I can understand why that would seem normalized to him. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she's got a joke.
Boy monster, you have such lovely blue eyes. Girl monster, what's the matter? Don't you like my green eyes and my red eyes?
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, given, like, This is probably the tamest jovial Bobstein joke that we've had in days. A monster with red, green, and blue eyes. That's fine. I'll take it. It's a little bit of a deceleration from where we were. I kind of expected them to be like eating the eyes or something like that at this point in time. I was like, oh no, where are we going with this joke? And I have Mega Mint. Gotta bring back the knock knock jokes. This is how bad these jovial Bobstein jokes are. I'm just giving jovial Bobstein a hard time. It's not that terrible.
I'm sure he and his millions of dollars are so offended.
I'm sure he is. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday. I hope your week is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and have it in the form of a recipe.
Recipe for a healthy relationship. Love, respect, trust. You notice that there's no amount of overbearing mother-in-law who likes to degrade her daughters-in-law in there.
Yes, please do not add that spice.
Yeah, there will no longer be a healthy relationship if you do that.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.